So your lower voice is doing A, B, C sharp, D, and your upper voice is just going to make harmony with that. Classic, yes, yes. And see, if we play this music enough, this kind of music, we don't have to think so much about what to do in a situation like this because it's already in our ears from having played the examples many, many, many times. And so, of course, and that works just fine. In general, there are two things to keep in mind as we're coming with a subject towards the tonic note. One is that you can always make thirds and sixths. That always works, unless you're playing a cadence. And the other thing is to make contrary motion. And so he actually did a little bit of both of those things because that was the overall structure. That was the actual structure which gave a little bit richer harmony. Can you think of something else to do that is not what you did? Yes. So as long as we avoid accented sevenths, accented tritones, and seconds, we get a good result. When you are doing it in two parts, my recommendation is see if you can do it without using fifths. That's a good thing because you get a little bit better result. All right. Can you think of any more? And what was your first interval? 4. Mm-hmm. That was the one I forgot to include with the sevenths and the seconds. Because the fourth is a dissonance, isn't it? Yeah. And so this means that in the two-part examples here, if you're going to use a fourth, don't. And if you do anyway, then you have to prepare it ahead of time and resolve it down. And we can actually talk about that a little bit later on. So try another one. Aha, yes. So a mixture of sixths and thirds. This is always a good and this is also the beginning of a pattern, by the way. Which is going to be very important a little bit later when we deal with subjects that give canonic possibilities. Okay, and there's one more possibility, is that you play parallel thirds. That also was done. Of course, when you play all as thirds, then you lose some of the independence of your voices. But for short periods of time, it's okay. Now, I'm going to ask Oliver to do one more thing. We've not discussed this before, have we? No. You've never seen me before in your life?
No.
He's one of our students at Eastman, so we see each other every day. Let's add a third voice this time. Subject is still ba, 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 except now we're doing it in 3 parts.
Still in the tenor?
Yep. Well, lowest voice.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, good. So his first sound that he made was, what kind of a harmony was that? 6/4. Okay. So, what have you learned so far about 6/4s in Gloucester's undergraduate theory program?
They're very unstable.
Yes. 6/4 chords are very unstable things. They don't go out in public by themselves. They're always accompanied by stronger friends on either side to hold them up, and and the 4 is in imminent danger of collapse any minute down to a third, and so this is why we try to avoid them socially. But doing it in 3 parts automatically opens up these possibilities. It automatically opens up more possibilities for unstable sounds. And so for now, we just avoid the 4s. Okay, we can deal with the 6s and the 3s. Okay, but for now, we avoid the 4s. So one more time. Your second chord was what? There's a 6/4. Okay, so we have to find a way of approaching this so that we don't get ourselves wrapped up into a spiral of avoidance, so that we don't have to think about what not to do. Because at the moment that you are spending too much energy thinking about what not to do, then you begin to lose some freedom in imagining what is possible. Okay? And so we always have to take this way of being that allows us to imagine what is possible, and to keep the bad cop over here telling us no 4s, to keep that to a minimum. So, nice if you can do it. Okay, yeah, we could live with that. Yeah. So, one way you could do this is to say, okay, I'm going to take the lower 2 parts in thirds. And then I add one more part on top of that. Voila. It works. So if you can find the simplest way for maybe 2 of the parts, and it's perfectly all right if you can't do it right away, because this requires repetition and practice many, many times. And then you will find some solutions to this. And you know, there are not going to be 25 good ways to do this. Maybe not even 20. Maybe not even 10. But if you can find 3 or 4, that's all you need for something that is this short in duration. Let's start here. Yeah, so total contrary motion, that works. Let's try starting in the same place, and let your top voice move together with the outer voice in parallel motion, and see where that takes you. Not bad. We have a question of the fifths in the lower 2 voices. But then you can fix that. So there are different ways to solve this situation. Thank you, Oliver. That was very nicely demonstrated.